Hey, Fran fam. Welcome to Life and Style with Francyne. I am your host, Francyne Walker. And joining me today is Detroit bred, homegrown MC and hip hop artist, Valid. Please join me in welcoming Valid to the show. Hey, Valid.
Thank you for having me. What up, Francyne? You all right?
I am amazing, and I'm just excited to hear your story. I listened to your new project that recently dropped. I think it was Friday, correct?
Yep, this past Friday. Yep.
Yeah, Plum Brandy.
Plum Brandy.
It's nice. It's really nice. I was telling you when we were talking during the virtual green room that it is very it's easy listening for me. And that's saying a lot because I don't listen. I'm very particular and selective about what I listen to because, you're feeding your brain, right? And yes, you want to be entertained, but I found this project to be very conscious and also very true to your roots. Like I find that you've seamlessly was true to who you are, but yet true to your passion. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're trying to say. It's
yeah.
I definitely I love this hip hop culture since I was a kid. And I always wanted to be a part of it, partake in it, and everything. But I also knew simultaneously that I don't look like most other people that do partake in it. I don't have the same background. None of us get to choose who our parents are, what country you're from, you're just born. Yeah. But I discovered this thing. I fall in love with it. So it's a fine balance of being true to who you are as an individual, and then still being true to this different culture that you discovered and you fell in love with, that you weren't probably necessarily trying not to be something you're not.
Absolutely.
So, and I think the people that like Valid appreciate that about me. I'm true to the culture I fell in love with. I uphold it, and I know where it came from, and I uphold the forefathers of it, and I uphold the people that this is Black music. This is hip hop is found in the roots of it is Jamaican music. It was African Americans and Puerto Ricans that really made this thing pop in the 70s and made it dope, and the whole world fell in love with it.
Sure. So now you talked about. Go ahead.
I uphold that, but at the same time, I got to be true to myself and not act like I'm one of them. I'm something different, and it is what it is. So it's a fine balance of being true to two different things.
Do you find, Valid, that in taking that approach, you get your, and please, some of the culture, I'm older, so, but I'm also, I remember some of the things where it's like, I want to say you get the respect in this particular industry because you recognize it's like, okay, I don't, look like the predominant artist. I don't want to compare you to Eminem because you guys are totally
different frequency.
You don't have a different, you don't have that anger, you know what I mean? Like Eminem's was a lot more aggressive. So, but he didn't look like
Right.
Dr.
We would if you were to take the Valid discography and compare it to the Eminem discography, you would say for the most part that these are almost like two different like subgenres of hip hop. You know what I mean? But don't get it twisted, because like there is some songs that you would say like, okay, both of these cats would be able to rock, you know. And that's not to put him in a box artistically or me. It's just we on two different frequencies. And what's funny about that is there's so many, like, being from the same area, the same region. Like my main producer, DJ Head, was his main producer, you know, until he hooked up with Dr. Dre. So it's like, even when he hooked up with Dr. Dre, DJ Head was there for the first 2-3 classic Eminem albums and made them beats with Dre and Mr. Porter and all that. And now that's my main guy, you know, but it's still a whole different vibe than what Head was doing with Eminem in the 90s, and even after the 90s when M blew up with Dre and got his record deal. What DJ Head was creating over there musically is something completely different than what he's creating with me over here in 2020. So it's just funny that you do, like, people will often, you know, bring that up, and it's just like, I don't know, like, M would probably be the last artist I'd be on tour with. If somebody was booking a tour, you know, like, you probably would have put Valor next to M. Now,
and the only reason I say that is because, you know, you grew up, you guys don't look like a lot of the artists. Right. I wasn't so much comparing as it relates to the, you know, maybe the same genre, but your approach, even with you having Head as the producer, as M had at one point in time, you still bring something different. Even if you guys look different or similar, but you're not, because your background is not 8 Mile. Right?
Yeah, my story's different.
Your story is way different. Your the culture, you know, Plum Brandy, I looked it up, means, and I can't say
Sleevovic, that's how you say it. Yeah, that's
you know, so
it's a different vibe, man. It's different energy. And I'll be the first to say, I'm one of, you know, growing up, I was the M is an influence on me, though. Like, don't get it twisted. Like,
oh God, yes.
Like, absolutely. The way he rhymes is definitely something I've studied. He's one of my all-time favorites, point blank, period. But the way the energy, the frequency, the vibe is different, though. But when you want to talk about, like, breaking syllables down and the words and the rhyme patterns, I study M. Like, he's I got nothing but good things to say about Eminem. You know, legend, one of the GOATs. That's that dude.
Yeah. And so let's talk about your influences in the 6th grade. Your first, I won't say your first project, in Mihajlo. It was a song where you were basically rapping about your mom reacting to you discovering your love and gravitating, because you gravitated
absolutely,
that genre, and you didn't have to, but you gravitated. What was it about it?
It wasn't just the genre; it was the whole culture, the whole thing. Even when I was a little kid and hip hop was becoming more commercialized. And I'm seeing like there was like a Flintstones commercial where like Fred Flintstone got like the boombox and whatever, and just that whole b-boy graffiti dress, the apparel, the music, everything gravitated toward me. It's just, there's a specific energy that I fell in love with at a very young age that I'm still deeply in love with to this day. And hip hop just kind of like also opened up my ear to so many other, like, for example, genres of music that hip hop samples. So like a lot of soul records I fell in love with. You know, I'm a big Marvin Gaye fan, Aretha Franklin fan, Kool and the Gang. And like, I would have probably never discovered. Now they were, you know, already popping before hip hop even like blew up, but I probably would have never discovered maybe some of these more rare records and rare artists and just other genres of music if I never fell in love with hip hop.
Sure.
It's just like, you know, hip hop like brought to me non-hip hop things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That entertain my ear. And the whole vibe, the whole energy, the whole you know, like Curtis Mayfield, and like you talk about like the 70s and 60s music. I'm sorry, I had to move this text message off my phone.
Okay.
But,
Okay. No,
a lot of the Isley brothers are so influential in hip hop before we even started using the word hip hop. And I love the Isley brothers. So
and
it's
it's
just
so
like
funny because not this culture, you know, the millennials, and it's like, I really like this song. It's like, it's a sample, you know?
yeah, they don't really like it, but I ain't mad at them because
they don't know.
When I was a kid, when I really fell in love with this was when I heard More Money, More Problems by Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
So when I'm in 5th grade, when I'm in, you know, 10, 11 years old, however you are, in 4th, 5th grade, and I hear this song, and it was like the gateway drug. It was like, More Money, More Problems, that hook, the way Biggie was rapping on it. I didn't know who Biggie was. I didn't know who Puff Daddy was. I didn't know who Ace was. But just that sound was like a rush of energy in my veins. It was just like, what is this? It blew my mind. Yeah. I didn't know at the time that that's a sample from a classic soul record. You know, it was many years later when I'm in middle school and I'm just taking everything at face value. I hit play and I'm like, yo, this is just all made in the studio. I didn't know what sampling was until I got older and started wanting to make music myself. And then I'm discovering, oh, this is the song that they sampled for More Money, More Problems. And then it's like, this song is from the 70s, 80s, 60s, whatever. Yeah. So you start discovering that genre of music as well, like these different genres. And I didn't know as a kid. So even these kids now, I ain't mad at them. They just hit play and they listening to what sounds dope to them. And, you know, when they get older, they'll discover like, oh, these drums were taken from this record. Yeah. These lyrics were taken from this record from 1970, whatever. And that's how it works. So 4th, 5th grade, you know, 6th grade, your mom is kind of tripping like, okay, what's going on with my son? And she wasn't tripping that much. I mean, because she's also the lady who bought me my first CDs, you know? Yeah. The first CD I ever bought was Puff Daddy's No Way Out, 1997. Yeah. And at that time, I don't know if y'all remember, Blockbuster had their own separate store. Blockbuster ain't even around no more. No. We're going back over 20 years ago. Blockbuster didn't have rental stores. They started coming out with music stores. Blockbuster Music. You walked in and all they sold was CDs. Or I think you might even have been able to rent CDs. I don't know. But I'm 10 years old, and at that time, like Bad Boy Records, Biggie, Puff, Mace were everything to me. That's who I wanted to be when I grew up. And I got that Puff Daddy No Way Out CD. I walk up to my mom. I go, Mom, will you buy this for me? Sure. And she was in the store right next to the Blockbuster, you know, and with my aunt. And she's like, what? What is this? I don't even know what it is. And I'm like, it's music. She's like, what kind of music? I'm like, it's just rap music. Now, she didn't know what that parental advisory sticker was. And neither did I. So when I go home, and I'm 10 years old, and I hit that play button on that Puff Daddy CD, it messed with my mind for a hot minute. Yeah. But I did fall in love with it. You know, there's and then from there was that CD. And then I was, you know, get this Mace CD, Harlem World, get this Tupac CD, and it just started building, you know, from there. And I still got my giant CD collection displayed on my wall that I still have to this day. Yeah.
I was listening to Plum Brandy, and as I said, you know, not easy listening like the easy listening, but it was easy listening for my ear. You know, even the single that we're going to play at the end, I believe, it had a nice
smoothness to it.
It was smooth.
It sounds good, baby. That's what that means. You don't gotta force yourself to listen to it.
It was smooth like Plum Brandy.
There you go. There you go. It's smooth. It might burn a little bit.
I said Plum Brandy. Let me Google. And so then I understood, given, and we're going to talk about your background because it's very important to note, specifically as it relates to the project. But I heard, while we are individual, we are inspired and influenced. And I don't know, I was just trying to hear, I got a common vibe from that particular single.
Yeah. When people hear the Mihajlo album, I've been told that they get this common vibe to it. And I take that as a compliment. Common is one of my all-time favorites. And here I'm older, I'm getting older now. And as I mature as a person, I feel that so does my music. Like if you were to go, back into the music that I was making 10 years ago or when I was in high school, well, first and foremost, you probably don't even want to hear that music because it's not easy listening. I was still working on my craft and I wasn't really making, you know what I'm saying, that good of music. But even when you go back 5 years ago, or even as short as 4 years ago, now I actually kind of want to think about it. It wasn't as I would say my music wasn't as grown, sophisticated, matured. So I feel artistically, even like the beats I kind of pick nowadays, I can still do like the intro to the Plum Brandy. It's hard, you know what I'm saying? It's that boom bap hip hop. I still love making that kind of music, but I feel now at my age and where I'm at in life, when I'm picking beats and producers send me beats, I just tend to naturally, subconsciously, kind of lean towards the more smoother, soulful, chill vibe.
Kind of like a mellowing. It sounds like you've mellowed and your music is filtered through that mellowed person. You know what I mean? Where for me, it was, I could listen to more than one song.
Right.
And I did, even but what I loved was I guess the MC rap is just as important, or not the vocal arrangement, the arrangement under,
right.
the music under the voice, as far as talk about, we were going to, I asked about, I said, why Plum Brandy? And you said it was something to do with the Balkan. Am I saying
that? The Balkan region. Balkan? That's where my parents are from. My parents are from Serbia. So it was definitely the samples in the music for the most part on the Plum Brandy EP. We were the producers were all from that region.
Yeah.
And I told them that I want to do the concept is I'll even want y'all to sample records from artists from that region. So they were pulling up like some. It blew my mind because during this process, and shout out to producer Misty in Serbia. He was really like throwing me some gems that I never knew existed from our region. Like soulful music that was made in the 70s and 80s in that part of the world that I didn't know existed growing up. Growing up, when I think of like Serbian music, Balkan music, I'm thinking more traditional, like folk music almost, that we hear at weddings and things like that. And I knew that there was like rock bands and stuff like that. I really didn't know that, and I was like damn near like almost like proud of my people. Like when he started saying samples from like 80s music that was like soulful music or funk music or like R&B almost music that was made in that region of the world. And I was like hitting up some of my elders, like, how come y'all didn't put me onto this growing up? You know what I mean? But it was rare over there. Like, people were making it, but it wasn't mainstream over there. So we were like sampling these dope soulful or funk records that were made in former Yugoslavia in the 80s and 90s that I would have never thought in my wildest dreams was ever produced over there. So my man's Misty put me onto a lot of records in that region of the world that I was discovering, and it blew my mind. So, but yeah, it's and I also got to shout out, you know, kind of what you're talking about, the musical elements and whatever. Yeah. My homies Pigpen, DJ Head, and Anthony Rizzo. That's kind of my team. They're my filters. Like, when I work on these albums lately, it really started with the Mihajlo album, and everything I kind of do is I understand that I'm just one instrument. You know, I come up with the words, I come up with how I say them, I come up with the flows, the cadences, whatever, the concepts. But to make it sound sonically correct, they're very involved. That's why on both the Plum Brandy EPs, the Mihajlo album, all three of them get the executive producer credit right next to my name. They craft, you know, especially DJ Head. He's super picky, and he molds, you know, he helps mold the song and bring it like to life and gives you that full album vibe rather than just here's a rapper and here's a beat under it. Yeah. It's the drops, these drums got to be changed. We got to replay that bass, and there's a specific vibe that he's looking for that always matches what I'm trying to create. So when you talk about like, yo, you listen to, it gives you off this like soulful neo soul vibe. That's definitely the direction I want to go, but DJ Head actually makes it happen.
Now, when you started with this project, Valid, did you have that vision in mind, or does the creative process kind of take you there? Like it's very organic, where it's like, I know I want to do this kind of project,
right?
But you don't. But are you open to discovering? Like, you didn't even know that there were the Balkan artists, you know, and the sound until now, you know. So it's
the process of making the Mihajlo album and the Plum Brandy EP were different, because with the Mihajlo album, there was a specific story I wanted to tell, a specific sound, a specific vibe, specific type of beats I wanted to rap over, and that's that. And that was, you know, we executed that. Mm-hmm. Then when I started working on the Plum Brandy EP, I'm talking to producers, and the only thing I'm telling them is, I'm not saying that it has to have a specific vibe. I'm saying like, yo, I just want y'all to sample music from that artist over there. And a lot of them like, I already got records like that. So they would send me beats, and I'm collecting beats that all have a different energy to them, but they fit the criteria that I gave them of, just as long as it has some sampled music from artists from that region of the world, we can rock with it. But I'm getting beats that have like a more boom bap, you know, DJ Premier Gangstar vibe to it, and then I'm getting a couple that have the little bit more of a neo soul vibe to it. So now it's almost like a mixtape, where it's just like, all right, I could write this heavy boom bap record to it. I could do this, I could do that, and I didn't go in there, unlike the Mihajlo album, with a specific vibe. I was like, each song is just gonna have a different topic, like, whatever I want to write to it. And
you write to it, so you get the music, and the music gives you, you know, this is just because everybody's creative process is different.
Sure.
You know, so you've got these beats, this collection of beats and whatnot, and you hear it, and it inspires you to write at that point what you want to say.
Yeah, the beat
inspire you that way.
Definitely, put me in a zone.
Yeah,
where it's like, is this a serious topic? Is this just me, you know, flexing my pen on them? What's the point. So like the song I Believe, that has a sample from that region of the world, and the vocal sample is saying I believe. So but it's saying it in Macedonian, in that language.
Nice.
But I knew that's what it's saying. So like the sample, the way the beat was sent to me, the sample in their language is saying like I'm just kind of walking and I'm dreaming. And then the sample also says I believe. Every 4 bars it says I believe. So I was like, I'm gonna say I believe in English on top of that. So when you hear me rapping, I say I believe, go with Hennessy, my flow, go with any beat. When I say I believe, under that, the sample is saying I believe, but just in a different language. But it's blended as a part of the beat. So that beat 100% gave me the whole concept of the record.
Very intricate, very intricate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's genius, honestly. That's very genius.
I appreciate that. But yeah, it's definitely, the beats will sometimes give me the full concept. Or like track 2, the track about my pops.
Yes.
That beat was just hard as hell. And I knew I wanted to say some gangster, you know, I don't know, I'm not gonna cuss on your platform, but I want to say some raw stuff on there. So I don't know how, I don't know why it wasn't premeditated. When I first heard that beat, and I was just like, yo, my pops was a gangster, and I was like, yo, I could make this whole record about my pops. So that one was more different. That was just
and what I liked about it was you had you know, the different language. You know, that's why I said this sounded like as both projects, where you still are true to yourself and you're true to your roots, your heritage, your culture, in a way where it's like, oh, make no mistake, you know, I'm proud of who I am. You know, I may be this is in me, but I still am who I am because of, you know what I mean? Like you choose not to separate the two.
I can't separate. They're because at the end of the day, you know, although that's where my parents are from.
Yes.
And that's the culture my parents, you know, raised me in.
Yeah.
I'm still born here. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I still went to high school with hip hop heads, and we talked about Mos Def and Talib Kweli and Eminem and 50 Cent at lunch. You see what I'm saying? So it's definitely it's a hybrid. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, and at the end of the day, that is really all we can be, is who we are. You know, no one was meant to, we're not homogenized and all meant to just be this cookie cutter. You know, you gotta honor where you come from, you know, because it's the only way to determine where you're going, right? So what's next after you? So Plum Brandy came out on midnight on Friday the 13th. Congratulations. What's next in the
so it's hard to say. I mean, if we lived in a normal world, there was no pandemic, I would be able to say, this is what we got planned, this is what we're gonna do, this is but right now it's weird, you know, for me at least, releasing music, because it's like we're releasing it, and the only thing I can really do with it now, we release music because we love music. It's an artistic release. At the end of the day, it's art for art's sake. But there also is, you know, I got a website that sells merch. I'm not, you know, we rock shows, and it's like with the world being shut down, kind of the way it is you're limited. And so like, okay, the music comes out, your numbers can go up on Spotify and streaming services, which is cool. That's always good.
Right.
But it kind of ends there, you know. I could advertise like, oh, get the Plum Brandy EP vinyl, get the Plum Brandy CD, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Get the new Valor shirt. But it kind of just ends there. There's no shows. Like typically you release the music videos, you release the art, people get excited about the art, and the numbers go up and people are talking about you. And not that it should be result oriented. But the results usually happen is, hey, we got a show popping. Are you willing to rock? Yeah, you know, let me call DJ Head and we go. There's no shows. There's no like.
So how does that make you feel as an artist, though? I mean, do you feel a little like constricted? You know what I mean? Do you feel like, because it's a great project?
Right.
Do you feel kind of like does it feel anticlimactic where
a little bit?
Yeah.
A little bit. Like I know I should be overseas right now in, you know, the Balkan region in Eastern Europe, rocking shows and performing these tracks with DJ Head and performing these tracks with the producers and the rappers in that region of the world that I made these records with, you know? And without that being anytime soon, there's always the question, like, maybe I should have just waited to release this as the world opens up. But then you don't want to wait so much that, I don't know, people like almost like forget about you, that you're not relevant no more. So it's a delicate balance of like, you kind of don't want to like empty your clip right now and then have nothing when the world opens up, but you also don't want to not shoot your shot right now. And
it's a gamble, right?
It's all delicate balance at the end of the day. So me and the team, we've been talking. So when you ask me what's next, you know, you can definitely expect some more visuals, singles, and music and whatnot. But it's probably just gonna be at a different pace than I would normally go, because your man's valid. You know, people know I'm the hardest working cat out here. Like, I'm, you know, bang, hit him with new stuff. But hit them with high quality. So like, if I'm gonna put a music video out, I want it to look like, you know, bad as hell. I want the mix and master to sound good as hell. And I'm always putting out new work, and I hold myself to a high standard. And we're always cranking out, you know, new shit, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to cuss. New music. And just right now, it's like, we're gonna still do that, but we're gonna be a little bit more careful, because I don't know, with the way the world is right now, is just kind of like, let's do it at a slower pace, I guess.
Yeah. You when you said a delicate balance, I can understand how you might feel like, okay, don't release, do release. But at the end of the day, you're an artist. So that's what you do.
That's what I do. I make art and I put it out to the world. Yeah.
You know, and it's great, you know, when it's like right there, but then when you unleash it, that's the high, right? It's like, that's what I think.
A lot of like probably less creative people who kind of look at art or artists as like, you know, what are you doing or whatever. I feel like, because a lot of times they'll say, oh, if it's not for the money, if it's not result oriented, if it's not about XYZ, then how come you don't just make your music, and why even put it out? Just keep it to yourself. Like, you know, if it's not about all these other external things. And it's like, what I think they fail to understand is the listener hearing that music is a part of the art itself. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, if you make a hamburger and ain't nobody there to try that hamburger, like that's a part of the cooking itself. Is somebody, you know, finally experiencing what you've created.
Exactly.
So now, you know, definitely there's a part of art too that I know a lot of artists who will make art and say, I don't know if I'm ever going to put this out, but that doesn't mean they regret making it, you know. So it's you're an artist. You create, you put it out to the world. So it's like, do you not be an artist until the world opens back up? No, I don't want to do that either. Like, I'm always down to write, create, get the song mixed and mastered, and put it out, and hope people enjoy it. Again, it's a delicate balance. I mean, if we could predict the future, and they said, yo, we're gonna go back to having concerts and full-blown sporting events at this day and time, if we knew that, then yeah, I probably would say, okay, now that I know that, I'm gonna chill and I'll release music like a month before, 2 months before the world opens back up, but we don't know. So it's like, you can't let the artist in you die just because the world ain't gonna open up.
Yeah, yeah. And not only that, artists are continually creating. This project is this project. You right? Mihajlo. Am I saying it right? Did I say your name?
Mihajlo, yup.
Mihajlo.
Mihajlo
was 2019. This is 2020. 2021, you might be on a different vibe. It's not to say that you can't reach back and, you know, and say, hey, let me, you know, Mihajlo, Plum Brandy, whatever the next project, continuing to create. At least, because it's almost like you got to get it out. You know what I mean? So the next thing, because
it's like self-expression.
Yeah.
Just keep coming. And I gotta express this, regardless of what the world is in.
Because the world, I mean, it's like the world is. This is happening, and
reality.
And based on where we are, we're shut down, kind of, sort of, not like we were in March, but we're shut back down. You can't even go back into a restaurant. You can't do the bar thing anymore. So, you know, I don't know. It's certainly. We've never been here.
Yeah, this is a weird time. And when this started happening, like, it starts to mess with your mental where put music aside, put art aside. I know, like, I had conversations with a couple of my closest people where it just kind of puts you you're kind of in a zone. You don't want to do anything.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't have, you know, if you don't have company coming over, probably your spot. You're not going over anybody's place. You're not. Almost everything in your life becomes like, well, what are we doing this for if we can't interact? Like, what am I going to go clean my house for? You know, like, ain't nobody coming over. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, the lotteries. You know, I'm not saying be like.
No, I get you though.
Nasty and gross.
I totally understand.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's like, wow. You know, I feel the same way. It's like, why am I buying clothes? I can't. Nobody's gonna.
You ain't gonna wear them nowhere.
And I bought clothes, and it's like, okay, let's reel it in. And it's probably bought clothes because it's like, well, sitting in the house, bored in the house, you know. But at the same time, it's like, why am I buying clothes? Yeah, I can wear them next year, but. It doesn't.
Exactly.
I don't want to wear them next year. You know, because what I want a year from now may be totally different. So it's different. So
what am I gonna go get my beard lined up for? Well, look, there's nowhere to go. There's no, like, it's so many things that you don't realize until this happened that is dependent on being around and with other people.
Yes.
And that just goes to show you how much we rely on each other and how humans are social beings.
Yeah.
You know? It's so when people are like, there's two ways I take this. Like, when people say, I don't care what other people think, that could be taken, that's a positive thing. But you can't take that's not we all care to a certain degree what other people think. Like, if you truly didn't care what other people think, then there's so many things about your life you wouldn't be doing. You only do it based because you care what other people think. And it's not about so much caring what other people think. You care about your reputation.
Yeah.
You know, back to art, back to music. Yeah, I got to get my album mixed and mastered the right way. Why? Because I care what the listener thinks. I want it to sound good to them. Like, and it just, again, I'm kind of getting off track here, but
no, absolutely realize, like, no, it's the same thing. It's all
the same thing. Like, everything, most of everything we do in our life is dependent on our interactions with other people. And when you're not interacting with other people, again, like, why should I straighten up my house? Why should I make this song? Why should I, go get my car washed? For what? The world is shut down. Like, there's so many things that you just, what? Just sit on, and it took me a minute to like kind of like break out that funk, and it goes to like a deeper question, like, if you were Will Smith and I Am Legend, you know what I mean, and you're the only person around in the world where we're shut down, would a human still, dress up nice if ain't nobody there to see it?
Yeah,
I would think maybe some people would, some people wouldn't.
Yeah.
But it's crazy times, and never in a million years would I have ever thought that we'd be living in this sci-fi movie.
Well, we commend you for choosing to do what you do and create and stay true to yourself, and your art, and what you stand for. Yes, it is a crazy time, and at some point, we've all halted, especially at the very beginning, where it's like had to figure out what's going on. So it's like, I'm gonna chill for a second, and some people literally had to because they got sick. So, and some of us are still here and some of us aren't. So if we're not doing what it is that we want to do, what's the point? Even in this space of a pandemic. I'm going to close the show with I Believe. And I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francyne. I'm so glad we finally connected after, a little bit of confusion. I was like, I was just pouting a little, like
no.
But I know that's not
down.
the kind of dude you are.
Anytime I'll come out here. That's no big deal. Thank you for having me, Francyne. I appreciate you. I see you out here doing big things with your platform. So
I appreciate it. You are too. And anytime, whatever you decide to do going forward, let us know. And we can reconnect and definitely have you back on the show. This is not going to last forever. Something's going to give. If we could all do our part, stay safe, wear a mask, social distance, we can flatten this curve again, and get back to the things we love, music, dance, socializing, all of that. You know what I mean? All the things that
hopefully next time we do an interview, it's in person. It's not
absolutely.
This is dope. You're executing it great. And
absolutely.
But it's definitely more fun and
because I used to do them in person, but it was like not this time. Not now. Gotta stay safe.
It's too risky, and it's honestly one of them things where it's just like you don't even know if you got it or whatever. But thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. 1,000 times over, Francyne.
Absolutely.
It's your man's Valid. Plum Brandy EP out now. The Mihajlo album out now. Shout out to blackouthip-hop.com and Alternativa Radio, DJ Head, Pigpen, Anthony Rizzo, all the producers that have been working with me these past couple years, all the MCs that jumped on records with me and everything. It's your man's Valid, valid313.com. Follow me at valid313. You about to bring the video in?
I'm about to bring the video in. You want to set it up? Anything you want to say?
Produced by my man Sam. In Macedonia, produced by my man Sam. The name of the record is I Believe. Video out now. Francyne about to play it. Follow Francyne on all social medias. Watch all of her shows. She's got dope interviews. And thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, honey. Talk to you soon.
Peace.
Here we go. I Believe.
Got me thinking out loud. But I'm a dreamer. Got me thinking out loud. Believe it, can achieve.
I believe. Coke, go with Hennessy. My flow, go with any beat. I can make any dream manifest. I believe I had the best. album back in 19. This is just what I think. I believe Owen was better than Brett. In producer high tech, don't get his respect. I believe in the spiritual, not just in the flesh. And the day I met DJ Head, I was blessed. I believe that Mace's Harlem World is a classic overlooked. Mike Vick was a target, over that shit throw the book. And Busta Rhymes, touch it, ain't nobody know the hook. Michael Jackson had time, I told her shook. I believe in marriage and earning for the fam. I believe in independence over working for the man. I believe health insurance is a scam. I believe you better have some health insurance in this land. Got me daydreaming. This is just what I think.
Got me thinking out loud. But I'm a dreamer. Got me thinking out loud. Believe
I believe in youth. Gotta let him live. I believe it's okay to have faith and question it. And I did a bunch of shit I should've never did. You should treat your friends as kin. When I was just a kid, I believed in Michael Myers more so than Jason, more so than Freddy. I believe I put music out before I was ready. I really needed help. Super MC said, valid, just be yourself. I believe that me and Tree were truly meant to meet, but I don't know if me and her are truly meant to be. I know we really love each other and it's far from fair. It kills me every day, that's my cross to bear. I believe in some conspiracies, couple that I don't. I believe that someone near to me is coming for my throat. I don't know, maybe it's just a paranoia. Couple thoughts in my mind, thought I'd share 'em for you. Got me daydreaming. This is just what I think.
Got me thinking out loud. But I'm a dreamer. Got me thinking out loud. Believe
I believe in reparations for those who got charged for marijuana, and they should have the first dubs on the industry built on weed as recreation. It's the haves versus the have-nots, I see the separation. I believe the blueprint was Hova at his dopest, and the third generation Range Rover was the coldest. I believe the Pistons should've went back to back. 05 shit was rigged and I ain't having that. I believe I'ma quit my job before long. I believe my pen is the most slept on. I believe you can't agree with every word in this song, cause I believe my beliefs could very well be wrong. I believe that I owe so much to the fans. I don't really know if this is luck or it's planned. When I have my shows, they come and know the lyrics. I believe in the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Got me daydreaming. This is just what I think.
Got me thinking out loud. But I'm a dreamer. Got me thinking out loud.